Good evening. Thanks for joining us on Ice Time with the Coventry Blaze. Ed Kimberley here with my guests Drew Fisher and Jordan Petrius, guys. Thanks for joining us on the show. I think we've got a good show for you this evening. If you saw the game on Sunday against the Sheffield Steelers, you'll know that it went to penalty shots, and you know that my two guests were pretty integral in the Blaze scoring the game-winning penalty shots and getting the 2 points. So that was kind of a bit of good fortune because we bought them earlier in the week before the games even happened. On the show tonight, we're going to talk about the Cardiff game on Saturday, as well as the shootout win against the Sheffield Steelers on Sunday. The Blaze have got a bit of a hectic schedule coming up again. I don't suppose it gets any easier. 2 games against Fife at the weekend, a doubleheader. One of many doubleheaders at the minute. They seem to be coming thick and fast. And a depleted squad. A lot of the guys are on GB duty, which I guess is great, them flying the flag for their country, but not so much for those long shifts in the third period, I suppose. We'll also be talking to these guys about their partnership on the ice, which, guys, let's be honest, has been pretty explosive of recent. You guys seem to have hit some form. So if we can go right ahead and just talk about the Saturday game against the Devils. Watching the game, Jordan, it looked like a pretty hard-fought game, a good performance, but you can just see why Cardiff are top of the league, can't you?
Yeah, I mean, they're really consistent. You know, they play the same way no matter what the score is all game, and we saw that Saturday night. You know, I thought we did a lot of good things, but in the end, we made a couple mistakes and they capitalized on them, and that's the difference, especially against those top teams. You can't make those mistakes, and when you have your opportunities, you have to capitalize, and unfortunately we didn't. I thought we did have some opportunities, but we just didn't come through. So unfortunately we weren't able to pull it out. But you know, again, it was a strong effort for the first 2 periods, but in the third period they had the edge on us. Yeah,
for sure. Netminding, Drew, is a big part of that. For a top-of-the-table team, I was looking at their netminder Ben Bounds' stats over the weekend. I think he's faced something like 20 shots less than Stewie over the year, but they're a top-place team. You wouldn't expect that, and I guess that just shows how well he's doing, looking at the rest of his statistics.
Yeah, I mean, what you don't really think about or see when you see a stat like that is, you know, their defense are doing a good job of clearing guys out, or he's doing an unbelievable job with his rebounds. Mm-hmm. You know, just getting stops, so where you're only getting one chance instead of the rebound, or you know, guys coming in later as a second wave. So you just got to tip your hat to a player like that.
Yeah, it's a difficult rink to go and play in as well, judging by I've been there myself. It's small, it's narrow, it's hostile. I guess, Jordan, you're going to be quite glad to see the back of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually a pretty fun place to play. We haven't had the success there that we'd like, but it is fun. It's a good atmosphere, but it'll be nice to play on a bigger sheet ice. One of the smaller rinks I played in my pro career, so you know, it'll be nice to play in a real arena.
Do you think it's going to change their game any, Jordan, going from one rink to another mid-year?
It'll be interesting to see how they do, because right now their team's really built well for that arena. I haven't seen them play any games on bigger ice surfaces like in Belfast or in Nottingham, so it'll be interesting to see how they adjust their style of play to the bigger ice surface. But you know, I think they have a really deep and just a good team overall. So I don't imagine they'll have too much issues, but you never know.
Absolutely. Let's go back to the Sunday game if we can, guys. After a 5-1 win the week before against them on home ice, we were looking to make it 5 on a bounce. The team had to dig deep, didn't they? Because the Sheffield Steelers, even after the first period, they were 2 goals adrift. Yes, Drew, you knew they were going to come. Let's have a look at the footage here. Let's start with Brendan Walker. He's a new guy to the team. This is his second goal of the year, his first at home. Tell us what he does, Drew.
Well, first of all, they do a great job on the forecheck here. PD's pressuring, and Walks comes down the wall, downhill, and is able to get the puck back to the middle. I don't make a great pass here, but Boris is humongous, so he just gets it down towards the net, and PD and Walks just do the rest, and it's kind of a mad scramble, but there's a good buzz and good energy for that shift.
I don't know if it was me, but it looks like the Sheffield Steelers back check's a little bit late there. Maybe their forwards are committing up ice looking for a breakout pass, and I guess bamboozled by Boris's reach.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. They get 2 guys caught out in the neutral zone, and it leaves a 3-on-2 in front of the net, essentially.
Okay. Another guy that's been in massive form at the minute, Jordan, is Jim Jorgensen, a defenseman with an offensive edge to his game. He was integral in this goal, playing hard in the neutral zone. Let's see what happens.
So, I mean, right now Sheffield's got the puck and we're on the forecheck again, and Robo does a good job of angling, and Losey holds his ground, and they turn the puck over. Now they're working in the offensive zone, and this is where Brutes is really helping us. And like you were talking there, Yorgi does a good job. He uses his ability to skate at first to punch the puck down low, and then again to break it up in the neutral zone. And Robo makes a good quick play to Losey, and you see when Losey shoots, he opens up his blade like he's going to pass or shoot far side, and then he quickly closes it and shoots it piping in short side. Just, a really, it was an incredible shot. And again, you see here how Yorgi steps up and uses his skating, and just a quick transition. Just watch again, he opens his blade and then quickly closes it. Just a great shot by Losey.
Yeah, it's a nigh on perfect finish, isn't it? And little things like the trickery you talk about of opening and closing the blade, those are the things that I guess because of the speed of hockey that go unnoticed too.
Yeah, I don't think many people notice. I didn't really notice it as much as I did now as I did in the game, but he's pretty crafty, Losey is. So, he looked like he was off balance. He looked like he was going to go to the middle with it, and obviously the goalie thought the same thing. So, great shot.
Okay, I guess the main event, the penalty shots. We've got you both here. We'll go in chronological order. No offense to Tyler Marzienko of the Steelers, but we're going to ignore his for now. Drew, this is a move that you've done in Belfast, I think it was, right at the beginning of the year. Come on, tell us about it.
Well,
where did you pull this from?
Just before the penalty shot, I was just kind of thinking, last time we played these guys, I went back to this backhand move that I typically I like to do that kind of throws goalies off, and my only thought coming down was how should I fake this? How should I get him thinking that I'm going to do that same move and then try to pull it back to the other side? And then as soon as I got near the net, he started to poke check, so that kind of threw a wrench in it, but I was able to get it around it anyway.
Yeah, between the stick blade and the pad, that's pretty hard to do.
Yeah, it was just kind of a reactionary thing. It's not something I come in planning to do, but as soon as I saw it out there, I just tried it, and it seemed to work out.
And you went out to check the snow as well in the slot right before the penalty shot started, and I guess that was to figure out what you were going to do, which trick you were going to try and pull out.
Well, yeah, there's something I didn't really think to do. Chuck told me, hey, go check out the ice down there, and I didn't even know we were allowed to do that, so I just skidded down there and saw how chewed up it was, and if it was as bad as our end was actually way worse, and I probably would have ended up just shooting, but thankfully I'm not really a shooter in penalty shots.
As we've noticed.
So thankfully the ice was pretty good down there, and it worked out.
I was really intrigued by Sheffield's second shooter, Connie Stromberg, because he had 2 goals on the night. He had I think he had an assist on Vestberg's goal as well. Why did he take it so wide and so slow?
Well, I mean, I can't really get in his brain either, but it's something that I've never seen before. And Patrick Kane does this stuff with his change of speeds all the time. So I thought he was going to come down and do something, just unconventional, or something really tricky. And really, I think he was probably just trying to outweigh Stewie, and Stewie outweighed him. And talking to Stewie after the game, I was like, what were you even thinking when he was coming down at me like that? He goes, honestly, I was scared out of my mind. And he's just like, I just wanted to outweigh him, and I thought he did a great job of that.
You could see the guy didn't stick handle, and Stewie was shuffling his feet, and he was actually pretty deep in his net too, so it was kind of a waiting game, and I think it was a difficult save for Stu. Yeah,
it looked like a really unusual penalty shot. I guess testing his angles as well, because Stewie usually comes out really deep. So if the guy then puts the brakes on, heads to the wall, it's like, oh, okay. I'm in the low slot area. What do I do now? I guess I have to back off and come down the pipe. And Jordan, your game-winning penalty shot as well. A bit of an opposite to Drew. You came in with a lot of speed and just ripped it.
Yeah, well, fortunately I have the the ability to follow Drew in the shootout. So typically after Drew goes, the goalie's confidence is quite a bit lower. So I try to take advantage of that. But I was actually thinking something similar to Drew in that the last time we played Sheffield and went to a shootout, I shot 5-hole. So I was thinking, what should I do? Should I change my attack? Should I do the same thing? What's this guy going to be thinking? I was kind of in my own head, and then I finally just decided that I'm going to come down and keep it simple like I always do. And I was actually going to shoot 5-hole again. I've attacked from the right to left like this in the past, and again, same thing as Drew. When I came down, he showed poke check, and there actually wasn't really much to shoot at 5-hole, but I did notice that his glove hand was down, and as soon as I saw that, I just tried to shoot.
Folks, join us after the break for more of Ice Time with the Coventry Blaze. Hi folks, welcome back to Ice Time with the Coventry Blaze. In the first half, if you missed it, you missed Drew and Jordan talking about their penalty shots and a couple of the Blaze goals against the Sheffield Steelers from Sunday's game. We'll be back on demand at some point soon, so make sure you check bigcentre.tv, watch again for when those come out. Guys, we've coming up to a doubleheader against Fife, but in the meantime, I'd just like to touch on a couple of players, a couple of individual performances from the weekend. Firstly, Chris Bruton. He came in from Braehead. He won a Memorial Cup. He captained that team as well. And a lot's been said about the trade with Neil Trim, because I don't know if you know, but trades in the Elite League are pretty rare. You don't really get them very much. So there was a poll online as well. I saw that Dave Sims of the Sheffield Steelers did. And I don't think any disrespect to Neil Trim, because Neil was a great guy. He led the team in assists in his departure, but it was unanimous that Coventry won that trade. And Jordan, Chris brings a lot to this hockey club, doesn't he?
For sure he does. It's hard to say who won or lost the trade. I think Neil had a ton of success last year in Braehead. I believe he was in the top 5 in league in scoring last year, so I think they are looking to add a little bit of offense on that side of things. And
they had a great partnership with Scott Pitt.
Yeah, so
I guess sucks for them because Scott Pitt's injured right now.
Right, but so obviously they felt they were missing something, and in Brutes we got a guy that, like you said, has a lot of experience. He's got some leadership, and he plays a different style of game than Neil did, and I think it's something that we lacked a little bit at times. Just that the grit that Brutes brings. He plays really hard, and because of his experience in North America and junior and stuff, he just knows how to win, and there's something to be said for that. So it's exciting to pick up a guy like that. There's no question. Yeah.
And Drew, having that kind of leader with Memorial Cup captain victory experience, that's going to be huge going down the stretch, because last February was massive for this club en route to the playoffs. We're in the trenches, we're in the middle of it now, and it could be going the same way. Yeah,
and just like Jordan was saying, this guy knows how to win, right? And maybe those few games at the beginning of the year where we're like, we lost by a goal, we had these chances and we could have won, but we didn't quite pull it out. These are the type of guys you want on your team that like maybe we got that one goal edge, and it was because of a guy like that, and I think he's just going to bring a lot to our team.
Yeah, he does the unnoticed things as well. I looked on the box score, and he had 3 assists on his home debut. That's a pretty good way to come into a hockey club. Yeah. And Jordan, Brendan Walker, he was described, I think by you, Drew, actually, when we spoke on ice after the Sunday game, as an out-and-out goal scorer. He's really finding his stride now, isn't he? You can just see him starting to get a little bit more comfortable after playing some more hockey, after not really playing a lot this year up to now.
Yeah, it's a tough situation for him to walk into, coming off and not playing for so long. So I think he's done a great job up until this point, but you can see even in practice he's getting more confident, he's handling the puck better, he's skating better, he's getting more comfortable with the guys and with the systems and everything. So I think he's starting to come into his own, and hopefully he can just continue to improve and progress each game and each week as he has done.
And both of them, Chris and Brendan as well, Drew, give Chuck a lot more options, because I noticed that, he went with U2 and Brett Robinson for a couple of months as like a solid trio that didn't get broken up, and you had a lot of chemistry during that time. He's got a lot more options against different teams' matchups now with those two guys, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I think that plays into his coaching style a lot better, just because he likes to control matchups, especially at home, and he likes to throw teams off on the road. So there's always a little bit of chess match for him, and I think bringing these two guys in just plays into his hands even more, and I think you're just going to see improvements everywhere.
For sure. A couple of guys flying the flag for GB, Ashley Tate, Russ Cowley, and a late call-up for Ross Venus, who Jordan has... He's been really good this year, hasn't he? He's kind of adapted his role a little bit to what we saw in his early career, but it's great for him and great for Ash and Russ as well.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I mean, anytime any player gets to represent their own country, it's an honor, and to see guys like that get the chance to represent Great Britain, I think is just so exciting, and especially for a guy like V, who's a young guy early in his career, to see him get rewarded. I don't think he gets rewarded as much as he should for a lot of the things he does, and he does a lot of good things out there, and I think this is just a testament to that.
It's a doubleheader against Fife on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, Drew. Lacking a few GB guys is not going to be good for those long shifts in the third period, is it?
Yeah, but who needs them? No, I'm just kidding. As Ash walks in. No, it's going to hurt the team. They're so good together, and they do their job extremely well. They carried us for the first half of the year, and Kyle's, what can I say about him on the draws? He's just, he's just gritty out there, and V blocking shots we're definitely gonna miss, and Ash is in all situations guy for us.
Oh, he wears the C on his chest as well. That's a bit of a big let's be honest. And Fife, we've not really seen a lot of them this year, I guess because they're in the other conference and we play them a lot down the stretch in 2016. Jordan, what's the scout report saying about them as a hockey club?
I'll be honest with you, I don't really know yet. We haven't been able to watch video on them. I haven't seen them myself this year, but from what I understand, the way they played in the past, they're pretty wide open. They're not super structured, but they've got some ability. They got some good goaltending, so it's going to be a challenge for us. There's no question.
Because we've struggled against more free-flowing teams. I mean, Manchester, I don't think we beat yet this year, Drew. So could this be another bogey team late in the year when we don't need to find another one?
Well, it could be if we let it, I think. If we stick to our game plan and don't, go down and play their style. I think if we just stick to our game and, play Chuck's way, that won't be
cliche of playing to the identity of the team, your team.
Yeah, for sure. But it's true though. If we need to play to our strength and play with our identity, and then if we do that, we can beat any team. But if we try and play other teams' style, then we run into trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think it's safe to say, though, because we've got Manchester again later down the stretch. I think our last home game of the year is against them. I kind of predicted at the beginning of the year that would be a big game for a playoff place. I think it might be. We're a different team to when we last played Manchester, and guys like Edinburgh and Fife as well. So are you kind of intrigued to see how you match up against more free-flowing teams now, Drew, than I guess maybe 2-3 months ago?
Yeah, I guarantee we're a different team, especially then. I think we're just coming off the tail end of Poland, and the guys are pretty exhausted, but not to make excuses or anything, but I think we're a completely different team now, mentally and physically, and we're just excited to, show our stuff here. Yeah, I think we're going to be, a team that nobody's going to want to play coming down the stretch.
And then it's a midweek game at home. It's a bit of a rarity. The Nottingham Panthers, another deep team. Jordan, I noticed that David Ling left the club as well, a guy who used to play for the Maple Leafs. He was big for them. But they're still a deep team, and I guess they'll overcome that and be a challenge.
Of course. I mean, they're fighting for the top of the table right now. And they are a deep team. They got a lot of guys that are threats out there. So we need to be ready, and we need to be able to beat these teams if we want to push not only for the playoffs, but for a higher standing in the table. So it's a big game for us.
We're kind of, I guess, set in our ways in many ways as hockey fans and guys that go to volunteer and help out on the weekends by being there on the weekend. Mentally, I guess you guys are kind of used to midweek games, though, Drew, having a slightly different schedule set up in North American pro hockey than over here.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of excited for this week coming up, just because there's not that I don't like practice, but there's when you have less practice, you're playing more games, and obviously playing more games is what we play hockey for. I mean, no kid grows up just wanting to practice all the time, but the games is where you really get to get the energy up and really show your stuff. So I think playing more games in the week is going to be more fun for the guys, and you'll see the energy.
I'll take the slight smear of practice with a pinch of salt, because I understand that you two are often the last two off the ice at the end of it. So I'll take that with a small pinch of salt if I can. And they're another team, Jordan, the Nottingham Panthers, who have a bit of a weird goaltending situation at the minute. They've used long-time backup Dan Green as a number one with Mika Vickman's injury. They've also got Mandola as well. Is there always a little bit of uncertainty who they're going to throw in and who you're going to have to face?
I don't think that's something that we're too concerned about. It's more how they defend as a group, how we get in the slot, how we get into the inside. And again, like we were talking about with Fife and the teams that seem to play more wide open, it's more about what we do, how we play. And whoever's in the net for the other team, we have to adjust, and we'll make those adjustments on the day of the game. But in generally speaking, it's not something we're overly concerned about.
An exciting weekend of hockey ahead for us in the Coventry Blaze camp, and for GB as well. If you go on the BBC website, you can keep an eye on Great Britain and what their schedule is, and you can support Ash, Russ, and Ross as well throughout their travels to Italy. We wish them well. Also, if you want to come down and watch a Coventry Blaze game, they're taking on the Fife Flyers on Saturday. Get to the rink for about 7 o'clock and you won't miss the start. Also, if that's no good for you, next Wednesday we're taking on the Nottingham Panthers. It's a rivalry game at the Skydome. Again, get here for 7 and you won't miss a thing. Thank you very much for tuning in to Ice Time with the Coventry Blaze.